Of our program, we appreciate it. Fred writes in, and I get a lot of these letters, but I'm going to read Fred's letter, and then I'm going to comment on it. It's 5 lines. Tom, I have heard you say many times that you are a self-made multimillionaire. After losing everything through a wicked divorce, I am having to start all over again. Find that the old way of working till you drop is not going to cut it in the over 40 club. Can you give me a little detail on how you made your millions, or can you direct me to a book? Thanks, Fred. Fred, I did not learn how to make money from a book. In fact, I learned how to make money by making just about every mistake you can make. But many people, and I must say, this is one of hundreds of letters I've gotten. Many people have written in to ask me about making money. We have made the connection on this program many times between getting better quality poon and having more money. The more money you have, the better a profession you have, the better ass you will get. And as you know, hardcore disciples get more ass than a toilet seat. Bottom line. But what I have decided to do is to give you my own pointers for being more successful. And then to answer your questions about this. I will tell you that at one time in Boston, the year I spent in Boston, you may find this hard to believe, but it's true. I was persuaded by a friend of mine to teach a course at an inner city high school for the organization called Junior Achievement. And in Boston, a place that is one of the most racist, sexist, self-hating cities in the world, they have these high schools where they take all the kids they consider to be problems. Drug addicts, people with reading disorders, attention deficit disorders, pregnant students, retarded students, whatever. They throw them all into one toxic waste dump of a high school. It is every problem child in the city, or at least in this area of the city, to throw them all into one school. Of course these kids are never going to make it. Of course they're never going to succeed, because they're not around any successful students. They don't see how it's done. And so Junior Achievement came in there, and it was their feeling that if they could reach one kid or two kids, it would be worth doing. So they reached out to me, if you can believe this. Because one thing people know, whether they like my radio show or not, whether they like what I have to say or not, one thing people know is I'm rich. And I started out dirt poor. And so they thought I might have something to impart. And every week, early in the morning, I used to show up at an inner city high school in Boston. This was not far from Copley Plaza. I went there and taught every week to a group of the most hardcore students you can imagine, and told them the basics about waking up in the morning and knowing how to become successful. On this show, we're not dealing with such a hardcore group, but what I will tell you is that many of you have not figured out, although I keep trying to tell you, the more money you make, the more successful you become, the better grade of ass you're going to get. Now, only my boys who work with me here have an idea of the cornucopia of I was gonna make alliteration out of that, but that would be a dirty word. The plethora of poon that I have purveyed. That's good. A cornucopia of cooch. Oh, that's very good. I was thinking of another C word, but that's just as good. Thank you, Brett. A cornucopia of cooch. Yes, I indeed have sampled the cornucopia, and many of those faces have passed through these windows over the course of time, and it is because I am a successful individual, but it's not limited to having a radio program. You don't have to have a radio program to do this. But many of the boys have figured out at least that much. More money, better chicks. Better profession, better chicks. And they wanted to know some of the things that I have done to be successful. So, I'm not going to get into a radio conversation about how I made it in radio, because, very few people are in the radio business. Let's start with that. But I'm going to talk to you about some of the basic things I've done in my life to be more successful. And then you may have some questions, and I will answer your questions, because many of you boys do want to be more successful, if for no other reason than that basic, visceral reason that men want to be more successful, to get a better piece of ass. I don't care if you're Bill Gates or Vincent van Gogh or who you are. The reason you strive to succeed at stuff is to get better chicks. That's why guys become musicians. That's one everybody can understand. That's why guys love to go out saying, hello, I'm an artist. Hello, I'm a poet. I mean, the point is, the better known you are, the more successful you are, the more money you make, the better ass you get. So let's review some of the things I've done in my own life that I credit with making me successful today. And things I could have done better and would have been more successful. Because that's something else I know. I'm no perfect person. I'd have more money and more success today if, number one, I stayed in school all the way through. I couldn't afford to. I should have found any way, even if I had to take a few credits every semester, I should have gone to school all the way through. Getting married at 18, big mistake. I teach you boys about this all the time. Many of you are not listening. It was wrong to have a girlfriend, a live-in, or a wife. And it cost me years of my career. It cost me years of valuable time. And in some ways, it kept me from finishing my education. Shouldn't have done that. Other things that I should have done earlier. I should have starved for my career earlier. I should have held out for what I wanted to do, but instead I took all these day jobs and got bogged down in them like quicksand. Bogged down in these goddamn day jobs. Sometimes you just have to say, look, I am in my case, a radio personality. And if nobody wants to hire me, I'm going to take the lowest of the low jobs and work my way up if that's what I have to do. Now, in order to do that, you have to sacrifice certain things. No girlfriends, no wives, no living with mommy and daddy who will always try to influence what it is you're going to do in life. And very importantly, boys, and I know you don't see the connection here, you got to wear a rubber and prevent these psycho bitches from hell from having your child and essentially holding you hostage for the rest of your life. I can't tell you how many just absolutely sad, heartbreaking letters I get from guys who for one night, 30 seconds of spooge, all of a sudden they got no career left. They got no life left. I hear from you boys all the time. I will tell you, it is no accident that I made it to my age without kids. I don't have kids. Not because I don't like them. I do like them. I like kids. But I knew having kids too early in my life would mean I couldn't pursue my career. It would mean I couldn't work as hard as I did. I couldn't work as many hours as I did. I wouldn't have been free to move to whatever cities had work. One of the things I did to be successful, I went where the work was. I moved 9 times. I kept going where the better jobs were. I kept going for the better offers. I didn't say, hey, all my buddies live here in Albany, New York, and I'm going to stay here. I kept going. One of the things people do, I must tell you, and I know I'm going to sound cold-hearted, it's going to sound terrible, they make a bunch of friends and they say, that's it, I'm not leaving this particular city. If I can't make it here, I'll be a plumber. If I can't make it here, I'll deliver pizzas. I don't care. You know what? Don't do that. To be successful, you frequently have to move away. To go to school, to work your way up in a profession. Sometimes there's just parts of the country that are better for doing the thing you want to do than other parts. You might not live in a good part of the country to do the stuff you want to do. You may just have to leave town. The minute you let friends, girlfriends, wives, children, or anybody else, parents, neighbors, acquaintances, distant relatives, or anybody influence your decisions, you are dead. Why are so few people really successful? I'm going to tell you the cold, hard truth. Because most people don't have the balls to say, I don't care what my mommy and daddy think. I don't care what my high school sweetheart thinks. I don't care what my friends think. I don't care what my children think. I don't care what people think of me because I won't have children. Most people don't have the balls to say the most important thing is me and being successful. I can't make other people as happy today as I will be able to make them years from now if I stick to my plan and don't let other people influence me. You can't let other people influence you. You can't care about what other people think of what you want to do. My parents did not want me to do this for a living, and they actively did things to stop me from succeeding, including my dad would not help me pay for college. You know what I told my dad? F you. I left home at 16. I said, I'm doing it. I don't care. And I left. Most people don't have the balls to do that. Most people are afraid to do that. Are you afraid to do that? If you are, you'll never be successful at anything. Ever. You'll never do any better than your dad did. That's it. That's as good as it's going to get. How many people are about to graduate high school and they look around and they go, oh, I love my friends. I love going to the prom. I love hanging out here with everybody. You know what? I just want to stay here in this small town, in this suburb. Sure, I'll go become a cashier at Walmart, but I'll be here with all the guys I went to high school with, and it'll be great. No, it won't. Getting good grades and not getting stuck in a community college where you are pigeonholed as a loser, it's well worth your while to bust your ass and get better grades. Play along with the goddamn system. I wish I had played along better with the system. It wouldn't have been as hard to succeed as it was for me. Now, these are just some basics. You may have some specific questions, and the younger you are, the better, but I'm telling you, the biggest flaw people have is that they allow the whole rest of the world to decide for them what's good for them. They worry about what the mom and dad think. They worry about what the brothers and sisters think, aunts and uncles, cousins, grandparents, neighbors, high school friends, college buddies. They worry about that stuff. You know what? You can't worry about that stuff. Because you know what most people want for you, and this is the dirty little secret, including my own dad. I'm going to tell you, this is what everybody is thinking. They don't want you to do any better than they're doing. I'll give you an example of how people are like this. Have you ever been on a diet? I mean, you're struggling, right? You gave up the cheesecake, you gave up the pizza, you gave up the Kentucky Fried Chicken, and there's always those people going, come on, just one piece of cheesecake, come on! We'll get out of the Cheesecake Factory, we'll just have one slice, come on! That is somebody who's afraid you're going to look better than they did. Who's afraid that you'll accomplish something they couldn't, that you'll do something they didn't do, that you'll have the balls to finish something that they don't have the balls to finish. You know what? That's how people are with your career. That's how they are with your education. Even your own parents, the people who are supposed to want what's good for you, in many cases don't want you to do better than they're doing. The result is most people can't fight the feeling, they can't fight the force, they can't fight it. So they give up and they say, what the hell, I'm not going to be any better than anybody else. And then they're not. You know what? When I was a kid, here's what I said to myself, and this is one of the keys. I said, I'm better than these losers. I'm better. I'm better. And it's up to me to prove it. So I went out, and I nearly went bankrupt, and I took every risk in the world. But I never allowed myself to be swayed by girlfriends, even though I had 4 wives, never allowed them to sway me. The minute a woman tried to dissuade me from doing my career or tried to encourage me to retire, she got drop-kicked. Because that's what you have to do. There's no piece of ass worth giving up your career. Now, if you have questions for me, I'm here to answer those.